Normal Rodney fashion, I forgot to start videoing before I did any kind of work. I started making a tire breakdown tool out of that mess there, and it didn't quite work out the way I planned. Well, a friend of mine contacted me about making a treadle hammer. Well, there's what I'm starting with. Now, this treadle hammer will be, well, look it up, Google. It's for blacksmithing. But this is going to be the base for the pounding post, which this big piece of 3-inch pipe, quarter wall thickness, is going to be the pounding post, which will house the tooling, which I done started cleaning, and then I realized, hey, you didn't start doing video, stupid. But we're starting with this. Just pretend you haven't seen the shiny part yet, which looks like this. Then grinder noise in the background. Pretend you hear grinder noise. Oh, look. Kindly polish that head up. The other side, I think I'm going to make it flat. And I was going to weld, or not me, my machine won't do it, but I was going to have this welded in the pipe. But if the customer wishes, I will just make it to where a traditional 10-pound sledge will slide down in there. And I'll reinforce the edge where the hammer sits. But that pipe will be welded in that wheel there. That'll be the base of the pounding post. And then probably fill around it in the bottom with some kind of aggregate, gravel or something to keep the ringing down. But I think I'm going to polish this one up a little bit more. Then I got to make he's got a 16-pound sledge that we're using for the pounding hammer, and I got to make the rest of it. I got to fasten that wheel to that stand, that stand, and then make the arm for the hammer. He picked up some springs. The springs will be to help lift the hammer back up instead of this wears your legs out instead of your arms. Look up treadle hammer, you'll see. But we worked out a deal, and that's what I'm doing, what I'm going to attempt to do. I'll do it. It just may take more than one try. Hopefully not, though. Anyways, enough with the yammering. I'll try to set up the tripod and then do some video of work in action and just fast forward it so y'all ain't gotta listen to me talk so stupid much. Let's try some of this grinding work. Warm. Well, polished out okay. There's still some dimples in it and stuff, but it's a hammer. Probably you're gonna have to mill it to get it completely flat. Here's my idea on how to, of course I've got to cut all those again to make them straight, but here's my idea on how to fasten the pipe to the wheel. I'm gonna weld, I'm not gonna weld it solid. I'm gonna do about 2 or 3 inch stitch welds, about 3 on each piece on each side. Then I'm gonna take some of that 1/4 by 1 bar stock and go along the bottom and then weld it all the way around. I don't know, but that'll keep it from going anywhere. It's going to add a lot of weight, but you won't weight on this. Sorry about the wind noise. It's windy and my shop rattles. But there's my ideal on that. Oh, excuse me. But anyways, I gotta clean all that up and cut those again, and I'll tack them with it on there because it's about as square as I'm going to be able to get sitting on that piece of 1/4 inch plate. But I'm gonna cut them all the same length and such before I weld anything. Got those all cut. Not gonna touch the other end because it's probably still hot. Now I'm gonna clean them up before I've got the weld. I'll just clean that edge up a little bit before I weld it all together. And then I got the ends beveled some, probably not enough, but I'll go over it again with a better grinding wheel. I was using a flap disc, but I've got all the ends cut. Ow, heat's radiating down on that one, if it'll focus. Anyways, got some bevel, extreme close up. You see I got about halfway through. That should be good. I mean, all the force is going to be downward, but it is going to be a lot of vibration and shock. So I'll go on the underside of the wheel and weld that too. This is my friend Eric. He's come to lend a hand for the day on the treadle hammer. He don't know he's on video though. Action shot. Yeah. Now I got that all welded. I gotta clean all the slag off and then pretty it up. Then I'll weld it to the wheel. And then I'm thinking maybe putting a cap on the end of it and filling that full of concrete. Just maybe. I don't know. Hush, Lacey. My dog wants to argue. I don't want to argue. But I did some plug welds on it too to add strength. Let me clean the slag off and clean it up. Alright, got that all welded up. Well, all the welding I'm going to do cleaned up. It's pretty solid. Well, it's absolutely solid. Next thing is to clean the spatter back off the wheel and then weld it down to the wheel. I won't be able to get in there with the grinder and pretty those welds up. My welds still, I'm using flux core and I'm a fairly inexperienced welder. I can make it stick and it'll be solid, but the pretty part I don't have down so well. But it works. I'm a better grinder than I'm a welder. But I got some good fat beads in there. And the pipe down here is still hot from welding it earlier. The metal's cooling off, but it's still plenty warm. Anyways, well, shit to bed. Grinders and paint. The post goes all the way to the bottom, and I've beat on it with a hammer and throwed it around and cleaned it up best I could. They're kind of ugly, but it's solid. I struggle welding in tight spots like that. I'm still learning. But the post goes all the way to the ground, to the floor, and it's basically 5 or 6 tack welds would have held that just to hold it in place. Most of the treadle hammers I've seen, the pounding post is wood anyways. So this one's metal, and it's going to have where you can change the anvil. So there's that. I got the inside cleaned up, and I wanted to go ahead and get it in paint so that it wouldn't rust. I'll clean the outside of the wheel, or what's actually the inside of the wheel, and paint that up. The bottom, I don't think it needs much cleaning. Just knock the dirt off and throw some paint on it. So anyways, okay, got this piece welded to the rim. I cut it a little big, so I got to weld a patch piece in there, or maybe, I don't know. But beads ain't looking too god-awful terrible. As I said, I struggle on the inside. But they're getting better. Getting better, some. You can tell a difference in these. These are some time ago. This was a different project, like I said. But that's welded, and I got to weld it to this piece. And I'll do that tomorrow. I'm done for the night. go in and spend some time with the kids. But you can see I got it close to centered. It's centered-ish. It might be off 1/8 inch, but it'll work. It did twist on me though. It twisted. So I'll have to, when I weld it to that, I'll have to do some creative beading. Anyways, there we go. Alright, I'm out in the shop again working on this hammer. It's been a few days since the last clip. I got I'm calling it the pounding post, welded to the rail that attaches the mechanical post. We'll call it that. Now, like I said, that was a tire changer I started, or a tire breakdown tool I started making, but realized I could buy the tool cheaper at Harbor Freight than I can buy the steel for. So I gave up on it. I quit on it. I was going to turn it into something else, but the client said that, oh, this would be perfect. So here we are. Get ready to start making the pivot brackets and the hammer, figure out how long the handle needs to be and the springs and all that. Yep. Alright, I turned my machine up as high as I needed to, I think. And I'm not touching that hammer to flip it over. That sumbitch is hot all the way through. Yeah, that's hot. That's a 16-pound hammer. So I'm pretty sure I got it hot enough. That's before any cleanup. What I did, I took a piece of pipe that'll fit down inside that pipe. What I'll do, I'll get that straight, get the hinge made and all that, the pivot point, and then I'll set everything up straight with that hammer on the anvil, and then that bolted in. I'll put them together and then weld them. It's not going to come apart. If it does, I'll fix it for free. This is what I got in mind. Forgive the rain, but the head's not, it's not drilled. I'm just getting an idea if that's going to work. I believe it will. I've still yet got to make the foot pedal, the stomper pedal, the linkage rod, and put the spring mounts on. And I gotta weld that, drill the handle. There's still some work to do, but I think that's how that looks to be about level. By the time I pull that up and drill the handle and put the bolt through it. So we will see. Okay, I think I'm recording. I got the hole drilled, and as usual, it's not exactly centered, but it's straight. I got the hammer centered-ish. It's about where it needs to be. Getting ready to weld the handle to the hammer, and I've got this piece that I'm going to weld under here, like down here, to give more pull with the springs. And then I've got, well, I may use this one here. It's got 5 holes, but I intended to put this one down there on the thing so that I could, you know, have tension, adjustable tension, I guess. But we'll see how it works out. I'm not real sure. I'm gonna weld the hammer because I've got it straight. It looks straight-ish. I'll make sure before I weld it, but then I'm gonna weld these pieces, and then I'll start working on. I've got to weld a piece here for the foot pedal, the stomper pedal, to pull it down, and then make a guide. So I've got to make a guide to keep the hammer straight. We'll see about that, if I have to or not. But yeah, there's an update. Alright, I got those welded on. I'm gonna round the corners off just a little bit. Should have done that before I welded them on, but I didn't. Pieces, little BB I missed. I got this cut yesterday and cleaned up. It's just a little bit too long, so I'm gonna have to cut inch or so off of it. Then I'll make the pedals. It's gonna be ambidextrous, so you can use it from the right or the left. That way, when one leg gets tired, you can use the other. Still gotta fix that up. Gotta put some of these on that pipe to attach the linkage rod to, and then make the stabilizer. And I think I may do a stabilizer on this end too, maybe, just to keep the pedal running true. We'll see. Alright, well, that's the pedal thing welded. I got to drill a hole to use for the linkage rod. I'm going to use a piece off of a lawnmower deck so that it can be adjusted if need be. Metal fatigues and stretches. I'm just going to drill a hole in here and weld it, and that'll be the adjustment. I don't know if I need to weld it. No, I'll put a steel bracket on there. I'll weld a steel thing with a hole in it to put that through with a washer and a cotter pin. Well, in most cases, a nail. And then I'll do the same thing. Well, I don't know. We'll see. One of those variants, I haven't cleaned the slag off that. The spatter and all that's still on it. So, yep. Okay, I'm thinking about putting the guide back here, because then I got, if I put it up there, I've got to go way up there with it, right in there. If I put it back here, I ain't got to go any higher. I got to go higher than that, but I ain't got to go any higher than that. So I think back here is going to be the spot for that. And then I'm thinking about doing a guide down there. Sorry, I'm looking at my finger up here, not through the phone, through the camera. Thinking about putting a guide down there for the foot pedal, maybe. I don't know. We'll just see how that works. But I am going to put that guide just to keep the hammer in line with the anvil. Anvil? Hammer. Yeah. So, but I'll show that when I get it figured out. I needed 3/16 on each side to make that just as wide as the pipe so that it won't wear the guide out. And wouldn't you know, I had some 3/16 inch thick washers. So there we go. I gotta knock a slag off, but burn in there good, I believe. Like decent beads to me, not perfect, but decent. Yeah, here we go. Well, got that on there. Need to do a little more cleanup to it and round some corners off and do a little bit of dress up work, but it seems to be okay. I think that's about where I'm gonna call it tonight. But you guys won't know that because, well, these are just little 2-minute clips in a probably half an hour video. What you don't see is the actual hours. I've probably got, I don't know, quite a few hours in this so far. But it's colder than shit. Need to feed my animals, make sure they've all got fresh water, spend a little time with the kids. So see you tomorrow. With the weight of the pedal, it required both springs, but I think it's done, other than clean up and paint. I may refine, because that pedal's up there. I don't know. Not sure how to get it down lower. If I move if I move this back some, maybe I may just put one here just to test it and to see. Put one, you know, about 6 inches back. If I put it 6 inches back, that would shorten. I think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna put one more on there, and then I'll use that to, I don't know, may just leave it. He can hang extra weight on it or something, I don't know. But it took both springs. But it does work. I can't, I broke my tripod, so let me see if I can get you where you can see it. I don't know where to put it. Let me see if I can flip the camera. Hey, you're recording. Point it here. You ready?
Yeah.
Well, I gotta get in a better position. Now, it's not very stable with this being on an uneven floor, but you see it makes short work of this aluminum too.
It's destroying the aluminum.
Well, it's flattening it out, what it's supposed to be doing. And that is the treadle hammer in action. Move your fingers out of the way of the lens. I told everybody I'd put a video on the bladesmithing group. I'm not firing up a torch and heating a piece of steel to pound on a piece of steel, and I can see what everybody was talking about, the pedals. I do need to do a little tweaking on them, but he's not picking it up until Sunday, so I'll do a little work to the pedals so that it's a little more comfortable to use from the front. I see that, and I forget who was pointed that out, but thanks. Hope y'all enjoy. And I don't know if you can see me, but thanks for watching. Alright, going by everybody's advice on the blacksmithing for beginners group, bladesmithing for beginners group, I redid this. I put the fulcrum point back here, and that one's in the same spot. I added another one, but that didn't work out, and I added a set of pedals so it'll not be as it's a little more friendly to use. Get a little more power. We'll take a little tweaking, and none of the nuts and bolts are tight because I got to take it back apart, clean it all up, get it ready for paint. There it is.